Perfect. Shall I let everyone in now?
Yes, quite a few people in already, so sure. Thanks for coming. If you don't mind muting your mics, please, that would be helpful. Great, thank you. Okay, great. We can make a start while we wait for other sort of attendees to attend. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming today. So today's session is about a project called GovTech Connect, about sort of the boot camps within that. And this is an opportunity to ask questions and get to know more about the program. So we'll go through that in a second. I'm Jemima. I'm the project lead from the public side. I've been at public for about a year now, and I'm supporting with this GovTech Connect program and the boot camps within it. If we go to the next slide, please. So we just have a few simple notes before we get into it. So if you can please mute your mic. Questions might come to you during the session. If we can please mute our mics, that'd be really helpful. Thank you. So yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat function at any time during this presentation. But also there'll be opportunity to ask questions during the second part of the session, which we'll show you now. This session will be recorded, so just kind of bear that in mind as well. Yeah, next slide. So in terms of an overview of the project, we'll be doing that for about 5 minutes. Martha's going to present from another partner as part of the consortium called Intellera Consulting. And then when it comes to the specifics of the boot camps, we'll take about 20 or so minutes to go through that in more depth. And then we'll have a bit more time for open questions and answers, because that's what we want to be the focus of the session today. So I'll now, in light of that, just pass it on to Martha to introduce herself and speak about the project.
Hi everyone, I'm Marta Bertoni. I'm an associate at Intellera Consulting, which is leading the consortium for the GovTech Connect project. So we can start by delving into the GovTech Connect project. GovTech Connect is a pilot project of the European Commission DG Connect. It will last 2 years. It's actually in its second year of activity, and it will finish in December 2024. The objectives of the project are to support and push the creation of a GovTech European ecosystem to foster the digitization and the green transition of the public sector in Europe. It will do so with a wide range of activities, starting from research, so more top-down approach with research, foresight studies, policy recommendation, the creation of a catalog of GovTech initiatives, but also a bottom-up approach with the execution of bootcamps, which is why we are here today, but also the creation of a GovTech platform, a community. It will have also the implementation of design thinking methodologies and citizen engagement activities. And it also involves a series of dissemination activities with the organization of webinars, workshops, and also of trainings that will be uploaded shortly on EU Academy. It is delivered by a consortium led by Intellera Consulting. We can go to the next slide. So the consortium, as I was saying, is led by Intellera Consulting, which is an Italian consulting firm, which has expertise in digitization, of the public sector, innovation support. It's part of a digital innovation hub, also innovation procurement and policy evaluation. The other partners are Public, which is the lead for the bootcamps, which is the creator and delivery partner for challenge and accelerator programs in Europe. Then we have Politecnico di Milano, which is the lead for the design thinking methodology, and in particular the Department of Design, which is a key player in this field. And finally, the Lisbon Council will lead the research activities. They're a think tank based in Brussels, but they have also an extensive track record on startups and SME policy. We can go to the next slide. So what do we offer? What does GovTech Connect offer, given this wide range of activities? In particular, the benefit to startups and SMEs are, first of all, you can join a community of innovators along with other relevant partners and also public sector organizations and public sector and civil servants. Then you will have the opportunity to develop citizen-centric services based on thinking methodologies and new methodologies of engagement. But also, thanks to the bootcamps in particular, you will have the opportunity to improve business capabilities and boost innovation. In this community, there are also, as I was saying, the public sector. They can benefit from connecting with startup and SME in Europe that can bring innovative solutions. They can learn from best practice from other public administration in Europe, and they had the opportunity to catalyze the twin digital and green transition. Next. Finally, we have, as I was saying, we have an online community. It's quite live on LinkedIn. We have more than 2,000 followers. So if you want to join this community, you can follow us on LinkedIn, but also you can take part of our community on JoinUp. JoinUp is a site of the European, a website of the European Commission. We have these communities, this collection where we publish the results from the research, the catalog of GovTech initiatives, as well as updates and news on the project. So we invite you to visit and become a member of this community. And with this, I conclude my GovTech Connect presentation. Of course, if you have any doubt, you can reach out to the team anytime.
Now we're going to just move into an overview of the boot camps. So why join the boot camps? You know, we've had different startups in the first iteration of our boot camps tell us, you know, it's hard to sell into government. We have little stakeholder feedback. Funding routes can be very complex and there are few opportunities to pitch to government. So what our boot camps offer are learning opportunities, being able to co-design, grow, and showcase your startup and what you develop. So in terms of learning, you can learn how to work with government. You can position your product or service and navigate procurement, as well as receive expert advice on how to successfully build your B2G model and pricing strategy. In terms of co-designing, you can explore key methods for co-designing and user-centered and compliant GovTech products together with stakeholders, as well as receiving support and effectively testing your solution with stakeholders. In terms of growing, you know, you can gain the knowledge, skills, and tools to master the process of accessing funding and raising investments in the GovTech sector, which is a hurdle many startups face. And you can hear from and connect with GovTech-focused investors as well, which leads us to the final showcasing bit, because you're able to showcase your solution to investors and buyers on the pitching day, and you can receive buy-in from relevant stakeholders to deploy and scale your solution. We've had a really successful first iteration of the boot camps where startups have had really positive things to say. So they've found the one-on-one sessions and masterclasses really helpful. and felt that the boot camps struck a very good balance between hands-on sessions and masterclasses as well. And they also gained really good insights into what public sector thinks amongst various countries. And this was able to help startups build their strategies and test out their solutions across Europe as well, because of the exposure these boot camps have given them. There's a lot more, but I'm gonna move on. So a bit about the GovTech Connect bootcamps. They're the first EU-wide startup support programs that help early stage tech startups in building new solutions for public sector bodies that can help tackle key public sector challenges. So essentially, we convene startups, citizens, and public sector buyers, as well as investors through a final event and conduct immersive training on working with government, co-developing solutions with citizens, developing innovative business models, producing sources of funding, and final pitch preparation as well. So the key objectives is to convene, catalyze, and co-develop with startups. So we want to kind of convene and upskill the next generation of GovTech innovators and catalyze public sector digital innovation and drive green transition as well as support the co-development of user-centered solutions. So this year, our upcoming boot camps are centered around smart cities. We've already launched our open calls, and in March, we will conduct the selection. The deadline for applications is the 13th of March, and the first Western European boot camp will run between the 15th of April to the 14th of May. And the second cohort of Eastern European boot campers will run between the 2nd of September and 4th of October. The boot camps are remote and completely free as well. The first two startup boot camps were extremely successful, where we convened a total of 25 startups in targeted 11 countries and also had over 40 experts involved, ranging from different government representatives that were relevant to the various countries involved. And we had one final pitch day with over 140 participants as well. The first cohort was for Northern Europe, where the theme was driving the green transition. And the second cohort was Southern Europe, which was focused more around net zero and accelerating the digitization as well of Southern Europe. Now I will hand over to Jemima.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that. And I think just trying to echo what Zara's just said to us there, we've had a couple of iterations of this boot camp so far. Anyway, and it's been improved and iterated based on the feedback we've received from previous startups. So this is a good time to join as well and to get involved. And also from a public perspective, we've worked with over 200 startups. We've done over 15 to 20 programs across the public sector. We've worked with startups that have gotten multi-million sort of investments from investors as well. For example, we've worked with Element in Western Europe and Germany, and many others as well. So in terms of our robust understanding of the startup landscape, we have that within this consortium. So what I'm going to be speaking about now are the challenges mainly that will be focused on between these two boot camps. Next slide, please. So yes, so we're looking at smart cities, as we've said before, reimagining cities. How can we pioneer smart solutions for a sustainable future? So we're looking at smart mobility, smart energy, smart well-being, and smart engagement, thinking about sort of e-governance, decision-making, community activities within that. How can we enhance urban transportation a lot more within urban mobility? How can we be more efficient and sustainable within energy? How can we think more about physical, mental, and just holistic well-being for citizens within cities? So those are sort of the main buckets that we're looking at within this theme. Next slide, please. And within each theme, we have challenge statements, which you can see online on our website. So I'm not going to delve too deeply into this, but I will just highlight maybe one or two examples. So one of the challenge statements for smart energy is, how can technology make infrastructure smarter and greener, promoting active energy optimization in buildings and roads? So you might have a solution that fits into one of these challenge statements or multiple, both. Then we want to hear from you. Next slide, please. So the reason why we've chosen, for example, smart energy is because there's a policy context within it, embedded with it, the European Green Deal and other sorts of initiatives that align with why this is such an important initiative for us. And some of the example of solutions that we found, it's not exclusive to this. You might have a solution that is outside of these boundaries, but things like digital clean energy marketplaces, automatic monitoring and targeting systems for energy consumption data, computer-based systems optimizing energy consumption, and on and on. So that's just a high level. And so in terms of smart mobility as well, the second bullet point, how can technology optimize traffic flow and reduce congestion through innovative solutions, considering the environmental sustainability? So there's lots that can fit into this as well. Next slide, please. And again, we know that delivering smart, competitive, safe, and accessible transport is very important as part of the European Green Deal. So, and we're seeing examples of this within Western and Eastern Europe. Things like real-time traffic management and micro-mobility apps and visualizing traffic patterns and predicting congestion. These are all sort of measures and means to address this theme. And if you have a solution that fits into this, then we also want to hear from you and want you to apply. Next slide, please. Another theme, as I've said, is smart well-being. The first challenge statement, the first bullet point, is, how can technology be employed to facilitate real-time monitoring that ensures the well-being of residents is proactively improving health and preventing illness? We know that well-being and health is very reactive in nature. There's something that we can do that's more health promotion focused or more preventative in nature. So that's one example of a challenge statement under the theme of smart well-being. Next slide, please. And so again, there's a lot of sort of policy context with the EU for Health program that emphasizes the need for digital health integrations and just health promotion just more widely. Looking at things like lifestyle interventions and analytics for health data and wellbeing apps and social platform apps as well, to ensure there's more connection and combat loneliness within cities. So these are, again, examples, but not exclusive. So next slide, please. And finally, smart engagement. We know that this is an area that isn't often targeted as well as it can be, because when we have, smart city initiatives, how are we getting citizens' take on these things, their decisions? So one example of a challenge statement, the first bullet point is, how can technology design intuitive citizens engagement platforms that allow residents to easily access and provide feedback on public services, enhancing overall interaction in local authorities? So essentially, how can they give their say on some of the new initiatives and smart city and technology solutions that are being offered in their local community? Next slide, please. I've touched on this. Examples of solutions again would be, platforms and sort of chatbot solutions, for example, that helps with this, and just also platforms that make certain resources readily available so that citizens actually know what's happening, and they can give their say in order to promote more democratic governance within cities more widely. Next slide, please. And if your solution doesn't align with any of these themes specifically, or the challenge statement specifically, there's still potential for you to join the program, because we have a wild card challenge statement, which is: how can technology catalyze transformative citizen behavior change to foster smart cities and promote sustainable public sector services? So it's looking more broadly about how to promote behavior change to ensure that, we can we can promote sustainable public sector services. So if your solution fits into this and it fits into a more broad umbrella, then we also want to hear from you as well. If you have a tool, a solution that has the potential to transform the public sector, it's important that you join the program too. Next slide. So just going a little bit into the nitty-gritty about application process and eligibility. Sarah, do you want to speak on this?
Yeah, happy to. So as Jemima said, we're now going to look at the application process and eligibility. So in terms of eligibility, we are looking to target early stage startups to Series A in digital SMEs. So the companies must offer a digital solution that leverages new technologies with a public sector use. Our boot camps in general are quite broad range. So we've in the past had companies that offer B2B solutions, but are looking to expand to B2G. So there is the flexibility there, but the idea remains that there should be a public sector use. The companies must have developed an early product, so at least a prototype or a minimum viable product. The companies must also be citizen facing or are looking to embed stakeholder engagement into their product development cycle. They must have an office or headquarters in any one of these countries in the region. So in Western Europe, there's Austria, Belgium, France, Germany, Ireland, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. And Eastern Europe, we're targeting Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Croatia, Hungary, Poland, Romania, Slovak Republic, and Slovenia. Companies from other regions will also be considered, but priority will be given to those within the target regions. And they must address one of the challenges of the regions. Again, companies not directly addressing the challenges will be considered, but priority will be given here as well. In terms of the selection process, applications will be assessed by a jury panel made up of representatives of the project team, a sectoral expert, and as well as a stakeholder engagement lead based on the following criteria. So we look at solution feasibility, the team, company experience, and the plan for working with end users, as we mentioned before about whether it's citizen facing and looking at stakeholder engagement as well. The relevant dates are, well, if we have the live Q&A today, the applications close on the 13th of March, 2024, and the selection release will be end of March, 2024. We have a selection guidance document that outlines all of the eligibility as well as a detailed kind of blurb about the selection process as well. And it's also on the GovTech Connect website. Jemima, I will hand over to you again.
Yeah, sure, no worries. I think this is to go a little bit more deeper into the actual bootcamp training itself. So next slide, please. So in essence, it is a 5-week course for the bootcamp. It's virtual for weekly live sessions. It's approximately 6 hours. We ask that one team member at minimum attends the session. It's a mixture of different things, including masterclasses, roundtables, workshops, fireside chats, and yeah, different sort of means to engage. So in the first week, it's an onboarding, giving you an opportunity to get used to the learning platform, and to ensure that you have all the tools that you need to get the most out of the bootcamp, such as the schedules and the plans and the toolkits and goal settings. Week 2 is things like introducing you to how to work with the public sector, thinking about market structure, key policy drivers, compliance, understanding your buyer, trying to solve problems, thinking about stakeholder engagement and mapping the design thinking. There is a design thinking focus as well within this program, thinking about how do we actually address the needs of the people that we're trying to solve the problems for. So things like from week 3, we're looking at innovation, business models, think about, what is business model innovation and revenue models and pricing strategies and contract management and so on. And I'm well aware that there's lots of different maturities that people have within the program. We've had that for the 2 previous boot camps. We have startups who are very, very early stage, other startups that are a bit more mature and better established. And what we found is that these sort of sessions and courses were applicable to different startups at different stages and different maturity, and they can be amended and applied and tailored to you and your needs as well. So next slide, please. So again, looking at things like investment and fundraising, week 4, investment approaches, fundraising tactics, private and public funding, sources of funding, thinking about pitches as well, and GovTech investments more specifically as well, and things like reflecting on some of the workshop activities when it comes to citizens and stakeholders engagement too. Week 5, we're looking at public funding and pitch preparation as well. So as we've said, there'll be a final pitch at the end of these boot camps, where it'll be a chance for you to pitch to an audience that aligns with the challenges in terms of the specificity of this final pitch. That's still an ongoing process, but there will be an opportunity to pitch your solution, and there'll be opportunity to practice pitching too. Yeah, and throughout the 5 weeks, there'll be networking opportunities as well, and there'll be experts as well involved in the roundtables, in the master classes to deliver these sessions as well. Next slide, please. As I said, there's quite a bit of stakeholder engagement work within this bootcamp. This is primarily led by one of the consortium leaders called Palimi, who they'll be helping there. So thinking about design thinking methodology, methods and tools to effectively engage with stakeholders, mapping the maturity and embedment level of your design thinking and stakeholder engagement, hands-on activities on design thinking, and kind of focus groups and demo sessions on it as well. Oh, we sped through that. And yeah, so that's pretty much it in a nutshell, the boot camp. As we've said already, we've had quite a varied sort of feedback from previous startups about the program, from the master classes being very sort of interactive, to the opportunity to network with other startups, similar or dissimilar, but trying to reach the same similar type of market and so on. So it's at this point that I'll pause, because I know that was quite a lot of information to take in, and give everyone an opportunity to ask questions, delve in a bit deeper. You can unmute or you can post in the chat as well. So there's one question in the chat from Ricardo. Ricardo, would you like to to ask your question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you fine.
All right. So I'm asking because I was checking the challenges, and it seems the smart energy challenge, for example, seems to focus on the urban environment mainly. So I was asking if solutions that would help governments to check the sustainability and to monitor the energy infrastructure, which are not necessarily mostly in the cities, like I'm thinking about distribution and production sites, and also the sustainability of different sort of infrastructures, if this would be in line with the call or if it's out of context.
I think that's something that we can definitely explore. As I said, the emphasis of the challenges is smart cities. That's the theme. So that's why it's urban in nature with the questions. But we're quite open to other sort of solutions if they align with the eligibility criteria. So we're happy to have a conversation.
Absolutely. But would you advise then in this case to go with the wildcard, I guess, challenge? Because it's not, I mean, I see smart energy as it's framed is mostly in the city, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think that might be better suited to your solution. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Right, thank you. We have a hand, Yuval. So I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. Apologies.
Perfect. Yes, perfectly. Thank you. And thank you for the presentation, and which was very informative. Just to understand a little bit more, all the sessions are online or there are also physical meetings that, for networking, for the pitch, etc.?
So the actual training sessions are online. They're all online. We do have pitching, as I said, towards the end of the program, and we want to make that face-to-face. So the plan is to have that be face-to-face. It was with the previous boot camps, as we said, that there's 140 participants, and that was done face-to-face. So everything else is online, but that bit is likely to be face-to-face.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we have Shahzad.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm from DTU and also a research-based startup at DTU, basically. It was very nice. I got to know the GovTech through the OAS conference in Rotterdam. And exactly, I was very happy to hear that it's also open to the early stage startups, because that's where we actually struggle a lot, especially when the customer is a public sector. So it's a lot of things that we don't know, even if there is a solution or something. So I'm very happy to hear that. That's one thing. Second thing about this citizen engagement aspect. So is it should be something like that the end user somehow are the citizen, or if it's somehow indirectly, let's say, if we justify that it's a sustainable solution or an idea, and citizen get benefit indirectly somehow, which how do you actually position that smart mobility call in that regard?
Yeah, so what we found from previous boot camps was that, we said citizens engagement, but what we're trying to do is move away from that language and just say stakeholders engagement, because what we found is that there are solutions that benefit citizens, but they can be solutions that, are more for policy officials, for example, or the government more directly. So we're very open to tools or technologies that aren't, direct to citizens, but improves their lives or helps them in any measure. But I think what we ask is that whatever your solution is, that you engage or you have an appetite to engage with relevant stakeholders, and they might not be citizens directly. I hope that makes things clear.
Sure. Maybe I just I'm if I just share the example I have in mind, I mean, at the moment, I'm particularly focusing on incorporating climate risk into infrastructure budget planning for the road sector, and when the extreme weather events happens and so on. And of course, it could be part of it that it could be an early warning system also for the citizens. So, but at the same time, because it's somehow calculate the probability of deterioration and so on. So it helps with the maintenance stuff, you know, maintenance of the infrastructure. So that was, I'm still a bit wonder that that early warning system is necessary to have in this case to put it in the smart mobility category, or from what you hear, you think it's more on the last open challenging one that you mentioned. I forgot the name.
It was the wild card.
Yeah, wildcard.
Yeah, I think it seems fitting, honestly, to the smart mobility
Okay.
described.
Okay, thanks for the feedback. Perfect.
Yeah, no problem.
And just one more question, sorry, about the last, I think there was one introduction meeting as well, which I unfortunately missed it halfway. So I'm actually wondering if that's already been uploaded to the Join Up
Yeah, I can take this
community.
one. It does. It does. I can send you the link.
Great. Thank you.
Any other sort of thoughts or questions or clarification? I think something else that I wanted to add was based on our engagement with startups as well. Within the smart city landscape, I think energy and mobility are areas that are very much sort of thriving. So feel free to apply, please, if your digital solution aligns with those themes. But also, if you have solutions or are aware of people who have solutions within well-being specifically and engagement, and please share widely with them too, because I think it's important to capture good practice of what's happening across board within this. Okay. So I guess if there aren't any sort of further questions, then that's fine. But what we do have is an opportunity to ask things more on a one-to-one basis. So if there's something that, you know, you'd rather not ask here within the context of this call, but comes to you at a later time or whatever it might be, then I wonder if we can just share that link, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
On the chat.
And just to say, I'm sure that people will also go back to their teams and discuss the information that we've given them about the boot camps. But I have been talking to some of the startups, and I've spoken to some of you here as well. So I'll drop in that link in the chat, and please feel free in the future to set up one-to-one calls if you need to ask any further questions about the application process or anything once you've kind of discussed with the wider team itself. So I'll just drop that in right now.
Great, thank you. And if we can drop the website as well, that would be really helpful, really useful. Yeah, so whilst that's happening, I think I'll just use this as an opportunity to thank everybody for attending the session. We definitely want to get as many applications as possible. I think it's really important to highlight examples of what's happening, ideas and solutions, because quite often, you know, public sector aren't fully aware of what's happening or the art of the possible. So I think this is an opportunity not only for you to be upskilled and trained and understand the public sector a bit more, but it's also an opportunity to network with other people who are working in the same space and get to know others. And also it's another opportunity to be in spaces with people who, you know, are procuring these solutions as well. So I think all around it's a great opportunity to really pitch your solutions. So yeah, so thank you so much for attending and looking to speak to you all very soon.
Thank you, everyone. And the link is in the chat for everyone to kind of see. And we can also send a follow-up email with the relevant information.
Great. Thank you. Take
Thank you.
care. All right then. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
you.